Hey YouTube, how's it going? This video is mainly for people new to fragrances. So does cheap mean bad or cheap, affordable, however you want to call it? Does expensive mean good? No, not all the time. If you're thinking about getting a fragrance and you want it to be really expensive because first of all, you want it to be unique and you think it's going to pull a lot of compliments, be cautious about that because usually when it's that polarizing, the positive reactions might not be there as much because most people you're going to meet out in the real world, I'm going to say 98% of those people are not going to be people watching fragrance reviews, and their noses are very simple. So they're still loving things like Pink Sugar by Aquilina, Nautica Voyage. Those two scents are like less than $20 and they pull amazing reactions. Okay, the people that are already wearing these expensive scents, this video is not for them. Okay, they're wearing it for themselves. They're wearing it because their noses have developed and they can really appreciate a scent like that. They're not going out there wearing something expensive thinking I am going to get a ton of compliments off of this. I think they don't really care about that anymore. Or let me see, that's really it. If you want to get an expensive fragrance, I would say to sample it first, of course. Don't pull the trigger on it because you have to remember that fragrances are an invisible luxury. They're an invisible accessory. It's not like walking on the street with a Chanel bag and people are like, oh yeah, that's a Chanel bag. I know that's expensive. If you're walking by with a $500 scent, I will probably guarantee you everyone on the streets, they're not gonna react like, wow, that's a $500 fragrance that I just smelled, because they don't really know $500 fragrances. They're not really attuned to niche. They're more on the designer side. And these designer fragrances don't even really push past $300, past $250, okay? So, in short, if your intention is to get it for you and like you don't really care about what people out there think, you're not expecting you're gonna have fantastic reactions, then sure. And I think another thing I wanna point out is before, if I can be honest with you all, when I was being sent more luxurious fragrances in the beginning of like my TikTok journey and brands were reaching out, they wanted to send me their things, I was doing my best to try to convince myself that these fragrances were good. And I didn't make videos on it. Like I was just testing and I was just like, man, I have to remember this is a $300 fragrance, but I didn't like it and I would wear it and it felt off. And then even the people that smelled it on me were like, I don't like that. They're like, what is that? That smells bad. Like it was ass. You know what I'm saying? It was straight up ass. So for me, I'm always going to be honest with you all, regardless of how pricey a fragrance is or not. Because if I'm not going to wear it for myself, I will always tell you people's reactions, regardless of the price point of it. Because I remember there was a comment I received a while ago. I think it was a video on one of the Roja fragrances. And I was being straight up. I'm like, yeah, this is not my vibe. And someone was like, maybe you'd appreciate it more if you knew you were holding a $300 fragrance. And I was just like, if I did that, that would be totally misleading. Like if I went into this whole fragrance reviewer thing saying, the best fragrance here is this expensive one right here. And it's so good. And like, I was just trying to convince you saying, oh, the quality is fantastic. You don't see this kind of quality in designer sense. There's nothing synthetic about this fragrance. It really is a unique, luxurious masterpiece. And you buy it and you're like, yo, this is ass. I hate this fragrance. Why did you recommend it? And that's not me, okay? Like, regardless of how much anything costs, I will tell you if I think it smells good, because at the end of the day, that's all people are gonna get from it, is if it smells good or not. I'm not gonna walk around holding like a fragrance all day when I'm walking around and just being like, yep, this is what I'm wearing. I'm not like, that'd be foolish of me to do. And that's just not what goes down, okay? So, and I have to say just a quick side note, when I was first looking into niche fragrances, when these brands were reaching out and I'd YouTube these brands and I would see fragrance reviewers pop up and they're like, oh yeah, this is really just this really beautiful, luxurious masterpiece of a scent. And I'd be excited. I'm like, oh man, yeah, like these guys like it. And then that's when I learned, when I tried it for myself, that I'm like, okay, our noses are very different. These people are saying that it's fantastic and that it's amazing and it's unique. And I'm here thinking that it is just like, smells like a barnyard in here, like, and other people around me too. I'm like, what are these people talking about? So that's when I learned the whole, like, okay, my nose, very different from these people that have been doing it for years. Okay, so I still try my best to stay tuned with what's going on around me. And when I'm out in public, when I'm walking on the street, when I'm meeting new people, the feedback I get, not about like the internet's fragrance perception of these things, like people that have been in it for years. All right, so again, I know that kind of dragged a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I hope this was helpful for the newbies just trying to get into it. You don't have to buy something expensive to smell fantastic and be unique. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.